If you think that aiming for 1,200 calories per day sounds like some variation of hell on earth, then listen up and listen here, because today I'm going to teach you about correct calorie control. Firstly, there are many ways to work out your calorie intake. Here are a few. Today we are going to be using a variation of the MAC BMR method. Why? Firstly, because it's easy, it's a simple calculation that you can do yourself, and that's really important because some people who lose a lot of weight will need to adjust their calorie intake as they go along, so it's important to have a calculation or a method that you can do yourself. Secondly, the MAC BMR method gives a slightly lower calorie estimation and calculation than some other methods, and I like this because that means it's slightly more suited to people who have lower or slower metabolisms, which chances are if you're listening to this video, that is going to be you. So here it is. As you can see, we've got two calculations on the screen. One is for males and one is for females, and I understand there are more gender categories than this, but
today I'm just keeping it simple and trying to make it suited for the masses. In fact, most of the time I only show the female calculation as most of my followers are female, but I'm just trying to make it as all-inclusive as possible. Anyway,
as you can see, we've got two calculations, one for males and one for females, and you might notice that they're essentially the same apart from the first number in the calculation. The female calculation has a number 22 at the start, while the male calculation has a number 24 at the start. This is to yield a slightly higher calorie calculation for males,
due to them on average being slightly taller and having higher levels of muscle mass, therefore having a faster metabolism and requiring slightly more food.
So what you do if you're a female is you get the number 22, and then you times that number using a calculator or your mobile phone by your body weight, that's BW, in kilograms. And if you're thinking, well, I don't use kilograms, then just go on Google, type in how many stones and pounds you are, type in 12 stone 6 in kg, or type in 14 stone 11 in kg, and then it'll just tell you. For this calculation, we do need the body weight in kilograms, so it's the number 22 times how much you weigh in kilograms, press equals, and then do times 1.1.
For a male, it's the exact same calculation, except you get the number 24, and then you times that by your body weight in kilograms, and then you times that by 1.1.
What is the 1.1 on the end? Well, that's called an activity level multiplier, and that's just adding on 10% more calories just to account for you burning a few calories throughout the day by moving around. Any more calories you burn though through exercise and the like, in most cases shouldn't really be added on, as it's just adding too many estimations to estimations, it's too many numbers, it's reducing accuracy and confusing the results. A little additional point here before we move on is that if, as a female, your calorie intake on just the base level calculation, 22 times body weight times 1.1, if it comes out above the number of 2,000, then just scrap this number and just pretend that the calculation said 2,000. And if you are a male, if the number comes out above 3,000, then scrap that number and just replace with 3,000. So we're putting a 2,000 cap on calorie limit for females, and we're putting a 3,000 per day cap on calorie limit for males. Why is that? Good question. Well, you'll understand this more when we get to the actual calorie control and calorie aims and estimates section of the video, but essentially it's for health and it's for long-term habit change. Next, okay, now you do not have from any of this a specific calorie goal or target. What? Listen, we're going to do something smarter. What we're going to use is a calorie intake range, not a specific target. The number that you've just worked out, 22 or 24 times your body weight in kilograms times 1.1, what you've just worked out here is your calorie limit. That's the ceiling of your calorie range. Essentially, what we've just worked out is an estimation of your calorie maintenance level, which means the amount of calories it takes you to stay the same weight, meaning if you eat more calories than this on any one day, then you'll be putting on body fat, and if you eat any less than this, you'll be losing body fat. So that's why we're using this as the top of the calorie intake range. To find the lower end and limit of your calorie intake range, then I'd like you to subtract somewhere between 200 and 800, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800, somewhere in this range, calories from that top limit number that we worked out. Then you'll end up with a calorie intake range target, which looks something like this. As you can see here, we've got two examples of ladies. One is looking for fast results, so she chooses a large 800 calorie deficit range, so she ends up with a calorie intake target of 1,200 to 2,000 calories, so she ended up with a 2,000 capped original calculation. Then she's chosen that she wants to look for fast results. She wants to be a little bit quicker about it. So she's chosen a large 800 possible deficit per day, giving her a calorie intake range of 1,200 to 2,000 calories per day. A woman who is looking for easier results, if you want to go a little bit more steady about it, change less things, have a little bit more food flexibility and freedom, then she might choose a 400 calorie deficit or a 400 calorie intake range, a smaller intake range. Just as an example, she might end up with a calorie intake range target of 1,600 to 2,000 per day, a 0 to 400 deficit per day. Why are we using a calorie intake range and not a specific target? It's because any specific target that you're given via me or via yourself or anyone else, whether it's a high target or a lower target, it's going to be too difficult to hit. Every different food that you eat every single day has different calories, and you're going to try and Tetris every single one of these foods together to land on this specific number every single day without eating the same foods every single day in a row so that you don't get bored of it? Really? Probably not. That's my point. So what we need is a diet that's actually realistic. So if we give a calorie intake range that's variable, like life's different every day, you don't have to have the same calorie intake or the same foods every day, just base it on how you feel. Some days, if you're not hungry, eat a few less calories, lose weight a little bit faster. Some days, if you are hungry, or if you've got cravings, or if you're stressed, or if you just want a rest or a day off, then you can eat a little bit more. You understand now what your limit top calorie level intake is without putting any body fat back on, so you know to try and not go too far over this, over your top ceiling limit number that we worked out on the calculation. And you've also chosen what you think a nice size deficit or calorie intake would be on good fat loss and weight loss days. So now you've got a nice little calorie intake range there that you can float within and have some variation, take a little bit of pressure off yourself while still achieving success each day. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Take this information, go forth and achieve food freedom. If you want help and support with this, you know what to do. Thank you so much. Like the video if it made sense or to show support. I'll speak to you and I'll see you again soon.